When my wife Linda passed, the house got quiet in a way that made the air heavy. Cups still sat where she left them. Her sweater was on the chair. A little note she used to stick on the fridge by milk stared back like ghosts. People think grief is loud. It isn't. It's a weather that moves into your lungs. And that's where my son came in. He stepped forward, took charge, and told me not to worry. He said he'd handle the paperwork, the calls, the bank. He put his arm around me and said, "Dad, you can stay with us till you're back on your feet." So I packed a small bag and moved into the spare room at his place. I stayed quiet, stayed polite. I watched, because I had a secret I wasn't ready to speak out loud. The keys in my pocket weren't for his house. They were for something better. Let me start at the beginning, because people always rush to the end and miss how things get to the point where your own son tells you to leave. Linda and I were married for 42 years. She was a school librarian. And the way she organized books, she organized life quietly, calmly, step by step. I worked with my hands, fixing things. If something was broken, I figured out where it bent, where it snapped, and how to put it back together. We raised 2 children, our son Ethan and our daughter Maya. Ethan was charming from day one, right? Funny, stubborn. He had a way of making the room lean toward him. Maya, she was my quiet listener. She'd sit with me in the garage when I worked on old radios and ask soft questions. She had Linda's patience, her pocket-sized kindness. Linda kept me steady. When I wanted to splurge, she made me tea and walked me through the numbers. When I lost my job in my 50s, she didn't panic. She put on a pot of soup, laid out paper, and said, "We'll map it out. One step, then the next." That was her way. 3 years before she passed, Linda got sick. It was slow at first, the kind of tired that just doesn't listen when you ask it to leave. Between doctor visits and recipes for soups that felt more like prayers, I noticed something. Linda started writing more. Lists, letters, notes with little corners folded. She'd put them away in drawers, in books, taped behind a photo frame. She was tucking messages into the house like seeds. One evening, I found her sitting at the kitchen table with an envelope. She looked at me with that steady librarian look, and she slid it across. "For when I'm gone," she said. "Don't," I told her. She smiled. "Trust me, and trust yourself." I didn't open the envelope then. We had time, or at least we thought. The night Linda left us, the house breathed out. People came and filled the quiet for a while. They brought casseroles and stories. They said, "Call me if you need anything," the way people do when they love you and don't know what else to say. After the funeral, Ethan took the lead. He told me to let him handle the bills. He talked about the house like it was a box of puzzles only he could solve. His wife Grace set up the spare room. She's neat, efficient, the kind of person who labels jars. I don't blame her for wanting order. Grief is messy. Maya came, too, every few days. She asked Dad, "Do you want to stay with me for a bit?" I told her I'd be okay. Ethan was closer to the house, and he had insisted. I could see a small shadow in her eyes, but she nodded. "Call me," she said. And she meant it. The first week at Ethan's, he made breakfast every morning. Eggs, toast, coffee. He told me about a promotion at work. He was proud. He liked saying, "I've got this." He liked being the one who knew what to do. On the 3rd day, a small change. He knocked on my door and asked if I could keep my things in boxes. Just till we organized the closet. On the 5th, he put a notepad on the kitchen counter with groceries. "Please add what you use." On the 8th, he asked me to take my calls outside because the baby is napping. I don't judge. I remember being young and wanting quiet, wanting control. But grief kept making small noises in me. I would take my coffee outside and sit on the back steps and touch the envelope in my pocket. Linda's envelope. I hadn't opened it yet. I was afraid of hearing her voice on paper. I was afraid of not hearing it at all. On the 10th night, I sat on the bed, alone, and finally opened it. Inside were 2 letters. One was for me, one had Maya's name on it. I closed my eyes for a moment, held them between my palms, then unfolded. The one for me. "Sam," it started. Only Linda called me Sam. Everyone else says Samuel. If you are reading this, I am resting. You know I love you. You know I trust you. There was something I did that I didn't want to burden you with while I was here. I bought something small and quiet, not flashy, a place near the sea. A building with 2 small flats and a little shop. Below, the kind the world forgets, but people with gentle feet find. I bought it in your name. Paid in slow squares. Decades of choir stipends, extra shifts at the library, the tiniest inheritance from Aunt Rose. I asked the notary to keep it as plain as bread. The manager has the keys, but I asked him to mail a set to me. They are with you, tucked in the back of the cookbook with the cherry pie stains. I know you will look. My hand shook. I knew the cookbook she meant. Linda's cherry pie had red stains like a map of summer. She kept writing. I didn't tell the children because grief changes. People. It stretches some and shrinks others. I don't want them to fight over bricks. I want them to reveal their hearts. Watch them. Love them. But don't tell them yet. When you are ready, when you see who holds a door open for you without asking what they get, give them my letter. It says what it needs. The building is yours to live in, to rent, to rest. If you want to pass it on later, pass it to the child who makes room for you, not in their house, but in their life. I had to stop and breathe there. Be gentle with yourself, the letter ended. Eat properly. Walk. Talk to Maya when your chest is heavy. Be kind to Ethan, even if he is hard. He carries the world in his mouth and thinks that means he holds it. He will learn. I hope he learns with kindness. But if not, you do not owe your peace to anyone. Love, L. I sat along. Time the keys, she said. It's in the cookbook at midnight, while the house slept. I went back to the old place and let myself in with my key. The kitchen smelled like lemon cleaner and dust. I pulled the kitchen chair, the one with Linda's penny glued under its hand. I reached for the cookbook. There it was, the red-stained cookbook. Inside the back flap, an envelope was taped. Rattled when I shook it. 2 keys on a ring. One plain silver. One with a blue cap. I pressed them to my heart and I walked out into the afternoon sun. Ethan offered me a ride. I told him I'd call a cab. I walked to the bus stop instead. Linda and I used to sit at bus stops together when we were young, just because. Life feels simpler when you move at the speed of a bus. The building Linda bought was 90 minutes away, near a small strip of beach that gets quiet the moment summer ends. I had called the property manager that morning. He was an old friend of Linda's from the library. Knew. You'd be calling one day, he said. She was something else. The building was 3 stories. A little tailor shop on the ground floor with a bell on the door. 2 small apartments above it. Cream paint, blue shutters, flowers on the sill, the kind that come back every year, even if no one remembers their names. The street smelled like coffee and salt. He handed me the keys. The top flat is vacant, freshly painted. She put aside a little fund for maintenance. There's a notebook in the kitchen drawer with all the details. Rent from the tailor downstairs covers most things. You'll be comfortable here. Comfortable. The word felt like a blanket someone warmed by the fire first. I opened the door. The apartment had light. Not the kind you turn on, but the kind that floats in and lands on the floor. White curtains, a wooden table, small blue sofa like the sea had decided to nap in the living room. There were bookshelves already waiting. On one shelf, a small frame. Inside, a note in Linda's handwriting. Welcome home. I sat on the floor and laughed. It wasn't a world-conquering kind of laugh. It was the laugh of a man who realizes the person he loved planned for his soft landing, cried a little too. Then I made tea. That night, the air through the window tasted like ocean and lemons. Quiet, then morning birds. The next day I called Maya. I didn't tell her everything, not yet, Dad. Are you okay? Where are you? Her voice had a small panic wrapping it. I'm safe, I told her. I moved. I'll send you the address. Bring lunch. I asked. She arrived with soup and bread. She stood in the doorway, eyes wide. What is this place? Your mother, I said. Your mother is this place. We sat at the table. I told her the story. The letter. The keys. The building. The manager. The plan. Maya cried into her sleeve. Thought of everything. She whispered, of course she did. She looked around again, then back at me. Dad, you didn't tell Ethan? I shook my head. Not yet. She understood. She always did. I took out the second envelope, Maya's name written on it. Your mother wanted me to give you this when the time was right. Maya held it like it might be fragile. She didn't open it right away. She slid it into her bag. I'll read it at home, she said. I want to hear her voice when it's quiet. The following weeks were simple. I fell into a rhythm. I made coffee and watched the street come alive. The tailor would raise the shop's metal door with a clatter, and the bell would sing every time someone stepped in. I fixed a sticky window and a crooked shelf. I took walks along the water. I learned that on Thursdays the bakery put out rolls that smelled like butter turning into sunlight. The manager showed me the notebook in the drawer. Linda had listed everything. Dates, names, phone numbers, a simple budget, reminder in the margin. Buy yourself flowers sometimes. You don't need a reason. I started doing that. A small bunch on Tuesdays. Yellow ones. She always liked yellow. Ethan didn't call the first week. Second week, he texted, "Everything okay?" I wrote back, "Yes." The third week, another message. "Hope the community is treating you well." I didn't respond. I wasn't in a senior community playing bingo. I was sitting by my window at sunset, drinking tea that tasted like Linda's planning and my relief. On Sunday, Maya came with Ellie. The baby grabbed my finger and laughed like rain on dry ground. "Ethan said you moved out quickly," Maya said cautiously. "He told me I had to go," I said. Maya looked down. I know. Her eyes were sorry but not surprised. "Your mother asked me to watch," I told her, "to wait and see." To see. Who kept a door open for me without being asked. Maya reached across the table and took my hand. "My door is always open," she said. "You never have to ask." "I know," I said. "I'm proud of you." She didn't ask anything of me after that. She didn't ask about wills or deeds or what it all meant for later. She cleaned my kettle because she noticed it whistled unevenly. She put a plant by the window and left a note. "Water me when you remember. Kindness is small. It's how it hides its strength." Wind shifts. A phone buzzes. 3 weeks later, Ethan called. "Dad, Ethan." Silence. Cleared his throat. "Where did you go?" "I moved," I said. "To the community?" "No." "Where then?" "A place near the water." "Your mother arranged it." He went quiet. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I didn't feel like being argued with," I said. "Wanted peace." "We weren't arguing," he said, voice tight. "We were planning. You told me to leave," I reminded him, gentle. "I said it was our house," he countered. "Which it is." "I never argued that," I replied. "You don't have to defend your house to me, son," he sighed. "Look, Grace and I are under a lot of pressure. The mortgage is heavy. If we had known you had somewhere, maybe we could have done this differently." "Maybe," I said. "How are you?" Hesitated. "Work is busy. Ellie has colic. Grace is." "He's tired." "We're tired." "Being young is hard," I said. "Being older is quiet. Both can be heavy." He didn't respond to that. He said he'd call later. I wasn't angry. I was sad, in the way you're sad when you watch someone put their hand on a hot stove. You want to shout, but they already touched it. 2 months after I moved, Ethan called again. This time his voice had a sharp edge. "Dad, I need help. We had an issue with the roof, and the car went out. And there's a hospital bill from when Ellie had that fever. We're short." "How short?" "Around 6,000, he said too fast. "We'll pay you back." "It's just, we're drowning." Here, I took a breath. "I can help with the roof," I said. "I'll come by. Look, maybe call someone I know. I can bring groceries." He didn't say anything for a second. "I was hoping for money," he said. "I know," I said. "I can help with food and repairs. I won't transfer cash." "Dad." "Ethan," I said softly, "when I lived with you, did you ever ask me if I needed anything? Not a roof, a chair, a place at the table. I gave you a room." He snapped And then you told me to leave. Silence again, then quieter. He said, you didn't even give me a chance to fix it. You didn't ask to, I said. You made a decision about my life and told me where to go. He hung up. Didn't call him back? I called the roofer I knew and sent him to Ethan's. I ordered groceries to their address. Grace texted a quick thanks. Ethan didn't say anything. If you're waiting for me to be perfect, don't. I was angry too. I'm a man. I have pride. But I had something else. Linda's letter. Be kind to Ethan, even if he is hard. The line sat in me like a stone. I could build with 2 weeks later. There's a knock. I open the door. Ethan stands there, eyes heavy. He steps in, looks around at the blue couch, the light, the little plant by the window. What is this place? He asks, like the first time you taste a fruit you thought you didn't like. It's mine, I say. Your mother bought it for us? She put it in my name. I don't say because she knew you would push. I don't need to. Didn't tell me, he says again. I didn't. Why? I sit down. Your mother asked me to wait, to watch, to see who kept a door open. I needed to know who you were without thinking someone was measuring your generosity with a yardstick. He looks out the window. The sea is flat today. So what now? He asks. That depends on you, I say, on how you want to live, not in terms of money. In terms of respect, he shifts. I was trying to protect my family. And I'm your family, I say gently. Or am I only when it's convenient? He flinches. He sits. Dad, I look. I didn't handle it right. Was scared. Grace is on me about money. The baby. Everything is loud. He rubs his eyes. When I thought you had nothing, I got angry. Now I know you have this and didn't tell me, and I'm angry in a different way. Honesty is hard, I say, but let's do it. Your mother bought this place because she knew I would need peace. She also asked me to decide later where it should go. She left Maya a letter, too. You're leaving it all to Maya? Ethan's head snaps toward me. Because I told you to leave. Haven't decided all, I say. But I will tell you this. The person who welcomed me without asking what they get, who made space for me in their life, will inherit what I can pass. That's what your mother asked. I am honoring that. If you want a transaction, you won't find it here. He looks hurt. Then he gets defensive. So I'm punished forever because I ask for my house back. You're not being punished, I say. You're being told that choices have weight. Words do too. Get out is heavy. It sticks. I didn't say get out. He argues, you said, this is our house, and we cannot keep accommodating you. That's the same road. Different coat. He looks down. I'm sorry, he says, barely audible. I put a hand on the table, not on him, on the wood. We sit like that a bit. He asks if he can bring Ellie to visit. I say yes. He leaves with a stiff hug, the kind people give when they're not ready to relax yet. That night, I take Linda's letters out and spread them on the table. I think about roofs, about chairs, about doors that open and close. I think about Maya, who never once made me feel like a problem to be solved. I think about Ethan, who thinks love is a race you win when you say the strongest words. I write a new letter. I add a sentence to my will. I talk to a lawyer the next week, at the little office with the faded plant and the kind receptionist. I set up a trust for Ellie's schooling, restricted. Not a dollar to pass through Ethan's hands, all the money for her education, handed straight to the school when she needs it, with proof. I set the property to pass to Maya when I go. The tailor will never even notice his rent will go where it always goes. But Maya will have a roof to offer, a place to put flowers. It is a quiet revenge. The best kind is just a boundary with a spine. Months move, the seasons turn. I learn who sells the best oranges. I fix the doorbell downstairs without being asked. I bring the tailor coffee on rainy days. He tells me stories about Linda's visits. She came by in the afternoons, he says. Always a book in her bag. Always asking how business was. Never buying anything for herself. That was Linda. She collected people, not things. Maya visits often. She brings soup, but she also brings questions about my stories. She asks to hear about the time Linda and I got stuck in the elevator and sang to stop ourselves from panicking. She remembers. She keeps her mother alive in conversations. Ethan comes sometimes. He drops Ellie off for the afternoon and she runs around like a sunbeam that forgot to calm down, stands by the window and stares at the water like it might talk back. He is learning to say I'm sorry without adding but. It takes time. I don't hurry him. It's one lesson I learned late. People bloom at the speed of their sincerity. One day, he brings a stack of papers. Grace and I are selling the house, he says, voice flat. Can't handle it. We're moving to a smaller place, closer to downtown. Less show, more manageable. I nod. That's wise, I say. He looks at me. I thought you'd be happy, he says, a little bitter. The mighty fell. I shake my head. I'm not happy when you struggle, Ethan. I'm relieved when you make better choices. He sits. He touches the table like it might steady him. Wrong, he says. With you. With everything, yes, I say. You did. And now you're doing it better. He looks at me. Really looks. What would Mom say, he asks. She'd say, eat before you talk. And make a plan, I reply. He really laughs for the first time in a while. We eat. Not we. Talk. We make a plan. That's what Linda taught us. After he leaves, Maya calls. Dad, she says, voice bright. I read Mom's letter again today. She wrote, keep a chair for your father. Not because he needs it, but because you want him there, she wrote to you. Say softly what she knew you would do anyway. Maya is quiet on the other end. I don't care about the house or papers, she says. I just care that you're okay. I am, I tell her. More than okay. I'm home. A year after I moved, I invited Ethan and Maya over together. I made Linda's cherry pie from the red-stained cookbook. I put cups out, not the chipped okayest dad mug, plain cups, strong tea. When they sat at the table, I put my hands down flat and looked at them the way Linda used to do when she was about to say something kind and firm. I want you to know my plans, I said. Not to hurt anyone, to make peace. I looked at Ethan. I set aside funds for Ellie's education. You won't have to worry when she's ready to study. It's handled, he swallowed. Thank you, he said quiet, in the building. I continued. This place your mother arranged. It's my home now. When I'm gone, it will be Maya's. Ethan looked down for a long time. He nodded. When he lifted his head, there were tears in his eyes. He was trying to blink away. That's fair, he said, and I believed him. It took a lot for him to say it. I put a hand on his shoulder. He didn't flinch. He put his hand on mine. Maya started to cry then, big sister tears that make your shirt wet. Dad, she said. I don't need I know, I said. You never asked. That's the point. Your mother wrote in her letter, give it to the child who keeps the door open. You kept the door open, baby. She nodded, forehead wrinkling up like a map, and she laughed through her tears. Okay, she whispered. Okay, we ate. Pie. It tasted like cherries and memory. After I walked them to the door, Ethan turned back and hugged me. Not stiff, real. I'm sorry, he said again, into my shoulder. I don't know how to do this right. Neither do I told. Him, we'll practice. They left. The apartment was quiet again. Not heavy quiet this time. Not grief. It's quiet like a song you know by heart. I stood at the window and took the keys from my pocket. I turned them in my hand. Silver blue cap. Linda had planned this moment in her way. She trusted me to carry it. I think I did okay. Some people think revenge is slamming the door. I think it's keeping the door but putting a lock on it. I'm giving the key to the person who knocks with kindness. The day my son told me to leave the home he claimed he owned, I smiled. Not because I won, but because I knew I didn't have to. Argue anymore? The keys in my pocket weren't for his house. They were for a better one. The one Linda built with her quiet bravery and her folded letters. The one made of respect. And that's the story I carried. One step at a time. Until it led me here. Home is not a place you're allowed to stay. It's a place you're welcome to return.